All right, we've got another episode of Coach's Corner. We have a very special guest, everybody. Say hi, Neisha. We got Neisha Berry on with us. Fantastic. Many of you already know Neisha. Some of you may have actually come here because you follow Neisha or you follow Ken and you came to us because they said this is the place to come. But what's interesting is when you enrolled kind of quietly. You and I really didn't have like a deep conversation into joining our course. So I've gotten to know you really more recently, which is awesome. So most of you know me. I'm Laura. I'm the admissions director here. I'm the host of this particular webinar series. And I am just absolutely thrilled to have Neisha Berry on to chat with us about herself and her journey and what's going on with her. But as always, I'm going to let you tell your own story because I will not do it justice. So you go right ahead. Lay it on us. Tell us about you and your path here.
Okay, so hey guys, thanks for joining and thank you for having me. I am Neisha Salas-Berry. I'm a registered nurse and also a primal health coach. I'm married to the guy named Dr. Berry. I don't know if any of you guys know him. He's kind of famous. That's my claim to fame. I'm Dr. Berry's wife. But in the past 5 years, I have joined the Keto Brigade, and against my will, really. I was just minding my own business, being a labor and delivery nurse, and I started dealing with some health issues. I had infertility and undiagnosed Hashimoto's at the time. Later, it was diagnosed. And then I finally went keto and found, the power of health through nutrition, which is, I think, why a lot of us come to primal, paleo, low carb, keto, is we found it's not just for weight loss, it's for health. And so that started my journey into my own keto experience. And along the way, I started sharing that online via YouTube, Instagram, Facebook. Ken and I do a live stream where we do Q&As every Monday Night Live. And that just kind of took on a life of its own. And I started talking to people and answering questions, even though I felt like I didn't really know what I was talking about. I was just saying, well, this worked for me. Maybe it would work for you. And Ken was reading research and we were talking to all these experts in the low carb keto sphere. And it just kind of blossomed into this new way of being a nurse and a doctor instead of being in the, office or the bedside where we usually were. We were able to reach people, teach people, and help people on social media by just giving them information about things that seemed common sense after you thought about it, like, oh, eat real food. Okay, stay away from processed junk. Okay, sugar is probably not that great for us in this big amount. And so over the years, I just dived a little deeper into that part of social media with helping people and talking to people, answering questions, mostly about infertility and Hashimoto's, keto pregnancy, low carb pregnancy, breastfeeding, and decided that, hey, why don't I just add a couple initials to the end of my name? And I talked to a few of my friends that had taken the Primal Health Coach program. They had nothing but wonderful things to say about it. And so I dived into that right when I found out I was pregnant with my second baby. But it all worked out. It was fine. It gave me something to do and focus on. It was an unexpected pregnancy. So that was a journey on its own. And since then, we pretty much just help people online with health coaching. We do group coaching and things like that. And that's just kind of how my path went from bedside nursing to, I still feel that I am doing a nurse's job. I still feel I am a nurse. I am a patient advocate. And this is just a different way of being a patient advocate. And that's how I look at health coaching, as I'm advocating for my clients to be empowered to go to their doctors and say, hey, why can't we try this instead of all of these pills that you're recommending? And can we not give this a try? And giving them just the courage and the ability to feel confident going in, knowing that food is powerful, just as powerful, if not more powerful than medications. And so that's kind of how I got here.
Oh my gosh, I love it. All right, folks, as we go, put your questions in the chat or you can type them in the Q&A. I'll be keeping an eye on that. But oh my gosh, so there's so much to unpack here. I mean, almost everyone I speak to as the admissions director for our course is drawn to health coaching because they had their own health journey. Mm-hmm. I would be a millionaire if I had $1 for every person who told me they had undiagnosed Hashimoto's for a long time. Yeah. Holy cow. Boy, is that rampant. And so, I mean, we're seeing just this tremendous rise in autoimmune conditions. Infertility is also another enormous. Was there something, so you turned to food. Can you tell me a little bit about was there a moment where you turned to food and other lifestyle factors? What was the aha moment that took you maybe from, hey, clinically, this stuff isn't, these other paths weren't working, and the ding, 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 the light bulb in terms of food and lifestyle?
I think I just had a real peak in my symptoms becoming so severe that I knew something had to be done. And I just didn't believe that a pill could be the answer to everything. So I was having panic attacks where I literally thought I was going to die. I could not remember things to the point I really thought I had early onset dementia, Alzheimer's. My brain fog was so awful. And that to me, like, I was 27 when this stuff started happening. That's very young to feel like you can't get out of bed. Your body hurts all the time. You're not being able to get pregnant. You know what I mean? I wasn't 40 and having infertility. I was 27 and struggling to get pregnant. And all this just kept happening. And I just listened to my husband, who kept saying,
listened to your husband. Wow.
I know. And he kept saying, like, just give it a try, see how it goes. And finally I was like, you know what? I'm willing to do anything, even give up my pasta and pizza. I will try it for a week. And to my shock and amazement, I actually saw an improvement in my symptoms with just 1 week of giving up the carbs. And that's just the lazy, low carb. Like, I just stopped eating the bread on my burgers and, just ate the toppings off of the nachos and those type of things. Like, it was very simple. Just take the chips off. Like, it wasn't complicated.
1 step at a time.
I wasn't counting macros. Like, I wasn't doing anything like that. And I already saw an improvement in my brain fog, my energy level. And that to me was the aha moment. Okay, maybe, because I had tried the AIP elimination diet. And for me, that just wasn't enough elimination. I was still eating too many inflammatory foods for me. So the sweet potatoes and the quinoa and the stuff like that was just too much for me to be able to see benefits. And once I just really took that next step and focused on good protein and healthy fats and took the carbs out, just doing that made such a difference in how I felt. And so I kind of woke up and thought, all right, I'll do it for 30 days. I'll do it for 60 days. I'll do it for 90 days. And then before I knew it, I was just doing it. And then the longer I did it, the more restrictive I would get. So I'd take out these things until I was doing a 90-day elimination carnivore diet. And that's really where I saw everything start to improve. Now, I'm not carnivore anymore. I did that as a way to reintroduce food so I could better understand where I fit into this. Is this inflammatory for me? Does this affect me? Or can I have this? Because, there's dairies and nuts and all these things that are the autoimmune protocol you can't have. And I still eat a little bit of dairy and I still eat some nightshades sometimes. But when I went carnivore, I slept through the night for the first time in probably 4 years. I had a full night's sleep. I woke up, I was energetic. My body composition changed. It was just I felt like me again. And that's when I really started to think, I think I need to talk about this more. This is powerful. Yeah. If it can do this for me, maybe it can do it for somebody else.
Yeah. The brain fog is a big thing that I hear with almost every single client that I work with. I work with mostly women my age. I mean, I'm older than you are. I'm 52 now, but a lot of these women going through sort of perimenopause. But even before that, I was 38 when I really kind of hit the skids health-wise. No, I really wasn't perimenopausal in any other way, but brain fog was a big focus for me. And what's interesting when it comes to keto, I did really well on it. I used it for weight loss initially, early on in my 20s after I had my second child. Lost a bunch of weight on it. And then all of a sudden in my late 30s, dairy was a big trigger for me, just talking about kind of foods that are inflammatory, what have you. And I'm like, oh my God, because if I told you how much cheese I ate the first time around when I tried keto, it was like my staple food. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't do that anymore. And then I started to eat more paleo and incorporate more sweet potatoes. And as long as I was working out like a maniac, I was okay. And then I entered sort of deeper into perimenopause, and I found that a lot of that keto really didn't work, or at least I didn't think so. And now I just sort of adjusted the way I work out. And I upped my protein and lowered my carbs a little bit more. What I thought was keto, I needed to actually be a little bit lower and add in more fats. And now I'm fine. So a lot of this stuff, this whole like keto's not for women, I'm like, maybe. And look, not everybody needs to be on it. I fully believe that.
Right.
But I don't think there's anything about being a woman, broadly speaking, that indicates you can't do keto. I think there's some women that just prefer not to. They don't feel as well on it for whatever reason, but I don't think there's anything about estrogen or fall or whatever that suddenly makes keto not for women. I think you need to troubleshoot. Look, here's what I had to do. I really just had to give up doing CrossFit 3 to 5 days a week. We shouldn't be doing anyway, right? But I missed it. So now I do it once a week. I do one kind of CrossFit Metcon, and then the rest of the time is walking and strength training, and I work out less, and I have not gained a pound. So anyway, the positive benefits of just removing all the noise and letting our bodies run on fatty acids and ketones from the standpoint of brain fog, lowering inflammation is tremendous. And we could probably get into some specific questions about that, but this is Coach's Corner. So we want to talk about coaching, and we got a bunch of questions and things in here. So I know you're taking a look at the chat, but I also have in the Q&A. So one says, hey, how do you handle situations where a client would push back on research or other scientific findings from a paleo, keto, carnivore perspective, and instead talk about WFPB diets? Do you quote alternative research?
WFPB.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure. Thomas, you throw in the chat or in the Q&A again.
If anybody knows what that means, I will say, most people that come to me, I don't do one-on-one. It's not my cup of tea. And I also don't have the time to invest in one-on-one. I do group coaching, and most of the time people that come to me already know me, know my personality, know what I'm going to say and how I'm going to say it. And I'm a very matter of fact person. And like, if you're coming to me for help and you're going to, and the client, let's say, questions the research, then I would just say, okay, why are you questioning? Tell me what your question is exactly that you have that supports this study versus this study, because I hope most of you, if you're coaches, you are doing your own research and you are learning how to read studies, because there are studies to support every way of eating.
Yeah. Whole food, plant-based. That's
okay.
Plant-based.
Okay. There you go. Yes, there are studies to support whole food, plant-based. Now, are those studies good? Are they randomized, peer review? Nutrition in general, the studies are just not as good as we would like them to be, because no one's going to invest the time and the money to do those type of studies. Because why? They're just not going to do it. So unfortunately, the main things that we have are anecdotal. And so I just break it down to common sense. What about eating real whole foods, healthy animal proteins, and staying away from processed excessive carbs doesn't sound healthy? because for the most part, any vegans are going to be morally based. And whether, the climate change and things like that, it's very hard to back up whole food plant-based as a healthy, nutrient-dense way of eating, because you have to supplement so many things. And at the end of the day, it just doesn't hold water.
Right. No. Yeah. And so first of all, Thomas, the number of clients I've had that have attempted to quote research, precisely zero.
Yeah, me too. I've never had anyone say that.
That rarely, just because it didn't happen to me doesn't mean it doesn't happen. That's what I'm saying. However, the number of people that will push back on based on what their doctor says, or a family member or somebody else that they trust, that's what's going to come up more often.
100%.
What I used to hear a lot is I can't eat eggs because I have high cholesterol runs in my family. That happens a lot. Or I got this lipid panel and this is what it says, and my cholesterol is high and I have high LDL, so I can't eat whatever. So typically the pushback is going to come from another trusted source. It's rare that you have a client that's actually reading research. Yes. If you do, then we hope that client is going to be open to reading another piece of research. And look, a lot of the whole food plant-based research studies, to your point, are not well done. No. But some would argue that's the case for all nutritional studies, and they're probably right. Okay.
They are. Absolutely.
Yeah. So, the whole my dad can beat up your dad, my study can beat up your study argument is kind of futile. Yes. The term Aaron Power likes to use, we're just flinging poo at each other all the time, and it really doesn't get us anywhere. So my gut is either that person's not your client, right? At least not yet. Or it's kind of meeting them halfway here and saying, I'm not saying you can't be plant-based. Plants can be the base of what you're eating. I'm just saying it needs to be whole foods. And we need to bring in some high quality protein. How much protein? If you're still hungry, not enough protein. Eat enough protein till you're no longer hungry. That's
also comes down to your coaching style as well. How do you relay your message to your clients? So for me, I would say, have you tried whole food plant-based? And if they say no, then I'd say, okay, I'd love for you to give that a try for 30 days and then come back to me and tell me how you feel. If they have tried it, I'm going to say, did it work for you? Odds are, if they're talking to me, it didn't. Yeah. So I'm going to say the same thing we talked about. These studies, they're not the best. And that I can say that on both ends. What I want you to do is study yourself. How is your body telling you this is working or this isn't working? And trust your body to be able to give you that message. We were built for that. That's the point of the body, is we get that feedback. We stub our toe, it hurts. The same thing happens if you are feeding your body the wrong things. It hurts. It will send you a pain signal, and that could be in neck pain, migraines, joint pain, gut issues, all those signals. It's the same thing. And if you are eating a whole foods plant-based diet and you're living your best life, good for you. I'm not going to argue with you on that. But if you are struggling with an autoimmune disease and joint inflammation and pain and those type of things, that's a signal from your body that this may seem like a good idea, but your body is not responding. And so something needs to change.
Yeah, something else needs to give. And look, in terms of someone curious about going whole food plant-based, my question, so first of all, are they curious about it? How are they eating now relative to, because oftentimes it's, I think I need to go plant-based, but they're still eating, Doritos and waffles and all that other stuff. So it's okay, before we decide to go whole food plant-based, why don't we try to just remove the junk food, right? Sometimes it's, if I go whole food plant-based, there's still a bunch of whole food, a lot of processed stuff. So they'll, so again, it's whole food, truly going whole food plant-based. Okay. So first of all, let's just try going whole food before we kind of pull out all animal foods and see how you feel.
Right.
you know?
And that's an
Um,
excellent way to move through that. Yeah.
Right. And then if somebody is whole food plant-based and they're biased, they're talking to you for a reason. Okay. So if they have an interest in what you do so clearly it's not working for them. In many cases, it's maybe I just need to do it better, or I just need to do it harder.
Yeah.
This happens in the keto community. I just need to be keto-ier. I need to eat more fat or whatever it is,
Or just be more complicated. I get that a lot. People really let me complicate it a bit and that will work. And that's almost never the answer.
Right.
It's really, you're overcomplicating it. And just eat real food, stay away from junk, especially like if it's keto junk food is still junk food, paleo junk food, still junk food. It's still junk food. If it comes in a pretty little bag and it has the words keto, paleo, anything on it, that's not truly what you're wanting to get. It needs to come from the ground or from an animal. It's one ingredient foods, simple as that.
Single ingredient foods. I love that. It's an exercise in my personal program is to spend a day eating nothing but single ingredient foods. Build your meals out of things that have one ingredient.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. And see how you do. And for some people it's, well, that was easier than I thought. And for others, it's, wow, that was harder than I thought. But then kind of once they get the hang of it, it makes sense. And then as you start adding in foods that have more than one ingredient, my rule of thumb is look at the back, look at the ingredient list. Could you make it in your kitchen?
Yeah.
Right. If you could make it in your kitchen with whole food ingredients and you don't have to go to some specialty store to go buy xanthan gum, right? Then it's probably fine. Right. Like, for example, this was when I was really paleo. It wasn't really keto, but Lara bars were a big deal. Right. And I'd look at the back, like I could totally make that. I'm going to have a Lara bar, Granted, the brain fog and the blood sugar roller coaster didn't serve me well. And it didn't last long on them, but you get my point. So I love that. Thank you very much. We've had lots of people like toot, carnivore, keto. This is all awesome. Paola says, I tell them what that really needs to look like, and they're quickly not interested in plant-based once they kind of realize what that means. Okay. So I want to talk more about sort of leveraging social media here. So we talked about kind of why, I'm just going through my questions, why you became a health coach. Well, so was the idea of becoming a health coach because you kind of are like, well, I'm not actively by the bedside anymore as a nurse, and I'm doing more and I'm acting like a health coach. I just feel like I need the credential. Was that kind of?
Yes, that's pretty much how I went. My mindset went, I was like, I'm not a nurse. I miss being a nurse. I'm pregnant. I don't want to leave my kids and go do 12-hour shifts and miss their life. That's not an option for me. I'm not doing that. What can I do to give me that nurse feedback that I love? The reason I went into nursing, helping people in a more defined way, without sacrificing leaving the house every single day and giving up being with my kids too. And so health coach fit the bill.
Yeah.
And then I started thinking about, okay, well, how would I use health coaching myself? What am I willing to do? And so then once I decided, I think I can implement this with Ken as a team inside of we were doing Patreon. Now we're on the Mighty Network. We have a health community. I think I've seen some of our members in the chat. And that's what I thought. Okay, I'll do that. I'll be a health coach in the group, do Q&As, answer messages, and just be what I already am, and just be certified to also give people confidence that I'm not just a YouTuber. As I think many people, this happens to everyone, myself included, the imposter syndrome thing is like, well, I don't really know. I've only been doing this for 5 years, and so-and-so's been doing it for 10 years. And, do I really know what I'm talking about? No one's going to believe, you know what I mean? And it seemed it would give me a good foundation, even though I pretty much already knew the things that were in the program. It still was good to be able to feel like, okay, yes, I do know these things, even though I'm married to Dr. Berry, I still wanted to hear it from someone else. Yes, this is right. And there was some things I didn't understand, like fitness. I'm not a fitness girl. It's not my cup of tea. And there's a lot about fitness in the program too, that I really appreciated, because I just don't. I'm not the person you should come to if you're like, I want to work out. What should I do? Like, I don't know. Sprint, do
some something heavy, walk a lot.
Something heavy. Right. Don't overcomplicate that either, honestly. And so, yeah, what it boiled down to is I miss nursing, but I wasn't willing to go back. I can't be a nurse on social media.
Right.
That's not a thing. But being a health coach, I could do that. Yeah. And so it just fit exactly what I needed at that time. I was just really missing that interaction with patients that I got from being a nurse. I've been a nurse for over 15 years. That's all I knew since I was 19 years old. Like that's it. I've been a nurse. And so after, I think I had been, I stopped bedside nursing in 2019. So, at a certain point that, really took its toll on, like, I invested my life in becoming a nurse, and I'm not that anymore. And who am I? And what am I doing? And like, I don't know where I am and who I am. And that was just a part of my identity that I needed to replace in a way that made sense for me and my family.
Yeah. I talk to more nurses. I actually think this is a very natural extension.
Me too.
People that have spent years in nursing is to sort of progress this way. And I always talk to a lot of nurses for that reason, but I feel like in the last 3 years, it's tripled the number of nurses that I'm speaking to. A lot of teachers as well, for a lot of the same reasons, burnout and just, and I think nurses and teachers are both natural caregivers in a lot of ways.
Yes.
Right. They just coming from different places. So I love that. So was social media, do you have a natural sort of pull and affinity for that? Or was it just that you and Ken had kind of started this YouTube thing? So how did that start? Let's start with, was that just like the two of you, after a couple glasses of wine one night or whatever, we're like, let's start a YouTube channel? How did that start?
So I started blogging. 2017, 2016. And I just did lifestyle and fashion. I've always been into clothes and makeup. And it was just like a hobby to feed my creative side. And I was nursing full time, and we didn't have kids, and I was working midnights, and just gave me like something extra to do on the side. And then I started my YouTube channel as like a branch of my fashion blog. And then some of you guys in the chat may have been around at this time. We were on Facebook, was more prominent back then. They had just introduced Facebook Live. That was the new feature. And we didn't have official pages. It was just our private page. It was just family and friends, local people. And we were sitting in the parking lot of a movie theater waiting to go in and see, I don't even remember, Guardians of the Galaxy or something. And I just was like, hey, you want to do a Facebook Live with me? Because I'd already been doing them. I was talking about just fashion and clothes, and essential oils were big at the time. I was talking about that. And so I'd already been doing Facebook Live. And he's like, okay, what do you want to talk about? Nah, we had just dabbled in paleo. We were branching out to low carb. And I was like, let's talk about bread. And like, which bread is healthy? Is bread healthy? What's the better option? Blah, blah, blah. Anyway, so that turned into a thing that we just started doing, Facebook Live. And then we started doing it every Sunday night. And then we did it on YouTube after that too. And along the way, he started an official YouTube channel. I told him to. He said, it's stupid. Why would I do that? I'm not a YouTuber. What's wrong with you? And I was like, no, hear me out. You could make the videos and then tell your patients to go watch the videos, because, as a doctor, especially in this day and age, you just don't get 45 minutes to talk to your patient.
Right.
You can't. It's impossible, which is another reason why we don't run a full-time clinic anymore. It's not an option that we're willing to sacrifice time and effort for when we could reach so many people on social media.
Right.
And so it started out as just a way to help his patients after the fact, be like, here's a video, go watch this video. It's going to tell you in detail more about keto, low carb, whatever. And then it just kind of took off. I mean, he had 100,000 subscribers in less than a year, wow. 1 million subscribers in like 2 years. I mean, it just blew up. So we didn't start social media for any other reason than our personal. We were just using it. Like I was using it for fun and he was using it for his patients. And then it took on a life of its own. And I knew the power of social media, but I never, ever, ever, ever imagined that he could reach that many people in that short amount of time. And it become this platform that we literally use in place of a clinic. So it was never our intention to have YouTube and social media and online things be the business model. It was more of a promotional type thing, like, and to bring people into the clinic. And then we had a lot of things happen and it just kind of moved on to social media. And it didn't seem logical to move back to the business model of a clinic when we could just stay home with our kids and help more people than we could seeing patients one-on-one in the clinic. So yeah, social media was not something we really used on purpose. And until we were like, we should probably start treating this like a business.
Yeah.
And we still kind of suck at that.
Oh, clearly you're doing well and you're reaching a lot of people is the point, right? And so here's the other thing I find interesting. Also in my role, I talk to a lot of clinical practitioners. I talk to a lot of doctors. I talk to a lot of chiropractors. I talk to physician's assistants. I mean, but I do. We have several MDs that are certified here. Many of them, okay, so some of them are because they're leaving the industry and they're doing something like what you're doing. They're moving into kind of a different sort of telemedicine role, and they know that they can't cross state lines. So they can help a lot more people if they feel equipped to work in more of a lifestyle medicine capacity and they want to understand how to communicate better. They want to kind of get out of that, I'm the expert, here's the protocol, do what I say, and just be more collaborative, I guess. So we do see that happen where MDs are actually enrolling here to just build their skill set. Some of them are also enrolling here because they just want to know what a health coach does. They want to understand the process, the learning process that health coaches go to. And many have said how much respect they have actually for health coaches. Interestingly, so I know that Dr. Berry has been a huge advocate of health coaching. We have a doctor that enrolled here 5 years ago. He's actually a weight loss surgeon. Wow. So this is a man who makes money cutting people open, like, surgically helping people lose weight, who's like, wait a minute, the outcomes are still not good. And he found Mark Sisson and found this primal paleo keto approach. He got certified. So did his partner, his whole staff. He wrote me the other day because he had somebody else he wants to enroll. And what he said was he wants to build a network of health coaches.
That's what we're doing. That's exactly what we're doing. And I want to seriously, health coaches are the new nurses. And I don't say that lightly. I am proud to be a nurse. I worked my butt off to get the letters. And unfortunately, the way the system is going, nurses aren't allowed to do what we want to do, which is be there for the patient. We don't have the time. The amount of nurses to patients now is ridiculous. And they may be paying you more, but you're suffering for that extra few dollars on your paycheck. And it's not fair, but it's the way things are going. And I think that this is so powerful for nurses to be able, and anybody to be able to find a path that leads them to a better way to be what they were called to be. Because there are, just like anything, there are good nurses, there are bad nurses, there are nurses that go into it for the money, and what a shock for them when they get to the other side.
Oh my gosh. Well, And I wrote down patient advocate, something that you said, because I believe that that's what most people go into nursing for. And find what I always hear is I can't say what I want to say, and so they're looking to come out. So I want to dig into, because we promised them this is part of what we kind of build this episode about, is about how to use social media to help more people and build more people. So I don't know where you want to start on that, other than let's recap. So you started with just, you enjoyed social media, and just because it was part of your personality, you got to share things. It was a creative outlet for you. Right. Started with Facebook Live, sort of migrated over to YouTube. And then the next thing you know, you're now on also Mighty Networks and Patreon. So it sounds to me like you started in one place, built a comfort level there, realized in order to grow, you needed more of something. So take us through that journey in a little bit about why you chose the path you chose, and some advice for people looking to get started that feel kind of lost.
Right. So, okay, let's just say if I had to go back and tell myself 3 things to do that I didn't do with my YouTube channel, if I'd be like, hey, this is going to actually work, here's some things you need to do, because I was just doing it. And I was like, my friends and family will watch this. No, it will go nowhere. It's fine. But so I would say niche down. And that's something I really fought against, because I hate being put inside of a box. But let me give you another way of looking at that. So when I hear people say niche down, it's a negative thing for me, and maybe for other people too. Like, you have to talk about this. You cannot go outside those. And I don't think that's true. Niche down should mean focus on the things that you love, but are relevant, that other people need and find helpful. So for me, when I really saw my channel take off, which was in 2020, and a lot of YouTube channels did very well because no one had anything else to do. They're just on YouTube, TikTok, and all that crap. I niched down with, I have teenage stepdaughters, and they're very, in with it, all the things that are trending. And they were like, why don't you do what I eat in a day videos? And I was like, why would anyone care what I eat in a day? And they were like, no, that's trending. That's a big thing. Like, it's a whole thing. Remember what's in my bag videos. It's the same kind of thing. It's just what I eat in a day. And I said, okay, fine, I'll do one. And I did one, and it blew up. And then I just kept doing those. And what I found was I could do what I eat in a day vlogs and still share me.
Yeah.
Not just this box that was keto or carnivore or whatever. It was my life, what I love, what I was wearing, where I was going, my kid, my husband, just my life. Also, here's what I eat. Here's some recipes. And that really helped me niche down in a way that kept me from feeling that I wasn't doing something that I loved. Because if it's not fun, you're not going to do it consistently, and you're not going to exude energy. Like, people are not going to want to watch that. If you're not having fun, no one wants to watch you. If you're like, well, I'm keto, you just don't eat sugar. No one wants to watch that. So as long as you are true to yourself and you are sharing something that can be helpful, then you don't have to put yourself in this box and do what everyone else is doing. That's something that I fought really hard again. I would try to do things like this person, and I would put my own spin on it. But until I just broke away and just was like, here's my life. This is it. That's when I had more fun in my videos. People enjoyed my videos more, and they could get helpful tips and tricks while being entertained and enjoying a 15-minute, break from whatever they were doing. So definitely niche down in a way that you still are able to enjoy making the videos, editing them, and helping people. And you can help people in so many different ways. It doesn't have to be top 5 tips, top 5 whatever. It can just be in sharing your struggles, and don't be afraid to share your struggles. That's another thing I would say. Don't come off in your first YouTube video, like, hey, I'm an expert and here's why you should listen to me. You should lead with your origin story, how you found it, and the mistakes you made along the way. Those things are very helpful. Do lists videos. That is a huge, most of my top videos are the top 5 recipes, top 5 things I eat in a week, what I eat every day, like just the list. It doesn't have to be complicated. It needs to be simple and get to the point. Also, if you're on YouTube, don't spend a lot of time at the beginning of the videos. No one cares. If your video says how to start keto and the first 2 minutes is just random blah, 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 no one's watching that video. Yeah. So get straight to the point. Your video, if you're wanting to make really helpful videos that drive traffic to your channel, which drive you clients, get to the meat and gravy. That's what the people clicked on that video want. And that's what's going to help you grow. And then throughout your channel, you can sprinkle in videos where you do have chit chats, like coffee and chat or a live Q&A. And those type of things really help your channel grow while letting you still have fun with your content. So I would say at least have 1 video a month that is a really good, quick, to the point, tips and tricks. Here's what helps me type video to drive traffic, but then also put videos up that you enjoy making too. So you're getting something out of it as well.
I love it.
I could go on and on about you.
No, I love it. And we've got some pretty long questions here. So let's
cool.
Go into some of these. Okay. So Annette is asking, I will be a new health coach soon. I will be new to health coaching soon. How do you actually relate to someone in order to have them sign on as a health coach? Or maybe they mean as a client, i.e. if you met and had a good conversation at the grocery store and other social area, what could I say to get them as a client other than being truly sincere?
Well, truly sincere is absolutely something you should be, but also don't be afraid to say, hey, I do this. That's my job. Actually, this is what I do for a living. I love it. I'm passionate about it. And if you're interested in doing this with me, here's what I offer, and give them your card. If you have a QR code, people love QR codes at this point. People pretty much know how to use them. So you can put a QR code on the back of your phone and be like, here, just scan this code. It'll take you to my website. I'd be more than happy to schedule like a 15-minute phone call so you can ask me any questions. But I love helping people, and I do one-on-one, just give the elevator spiel, practice that, and just give the elevator pitch, which is just quick, to the point, no pressure, just like, hey, yeah, that's what I do. I'd love to help you. I've helped many people in your, whatever they're dealing with. My niche is helping people with autoimmune issues. That's another thing. This is kind of like a jump off, but don't feel like, and you guys talk about this in the coaching program, you do not be a coach for everything.
Right.
Find what do you know? What are you passionate about? What do you know the most? What are you most comfortable talking about? It's usually what you've dealt with on your own. And just take clients that struggle with those things, because you're going to be able to help them the most, and you're going to be the most comfortable with those clients the most too. So if you met someone in the grocery store who's struggling with infertility and you struggle with infertility, they can relate to you.
Right.
You're going to work together more easily. They're going to feel comfortable sharing their struggles because you also did too. Those type of things, I think people get so hung up on, I need a client, that they will just take a client that maybe isn't the best fit. And don't do that. Don't push yourself, because I promise you, it's never going to end the way you want it to end.
We've all done it.
Yes.
And you regret it later.
Yeah.
So like, and that's how I built my business very early on. I still have yet to really, I now I'm starting to get some clients on social media, but it's not because I'm making ads, or it's just because people that know me from other ways understand what I do now. And so they'll reach out. But early on, I picked up, talk about the grocery store. I mean, some poor guy sitting there looking at the back of a food item, looking completely bewildered. where I was just like, do you have a question about something? He looked kind of confused and he was like, oh, do you work here? I'm like, no, I don't, but I'm happy to help. I know how to do this stuff. This is, I'm a health coach and I can help. So I helped him pick out, if there was something he was looking for and he wasn't sure because he knows it's called a bunch of different things. So I helped him read the label. Yeah. And the next thing you know, he asked for my card. I'm like, I don't have my card. I didn't have a card. And that's before they had that. Now they have virtual business cards. It's literally an app. To your point, you fill out the little app. Some of them are free. Some of them cost a small thing. And it's to your point, a QR code, and boom, now they can do that. So this was old fashioned. I literally wrote down my phone number. I give some total stranger at the grocery store, my phone number, and the next thing I know, I had a client. So, you will 100% not land any client if you don't offer to help. That's the only thing you need to do. You don't have to be like, oh, if you want to work with me, blah, it's just, let me know if I can help. If you need my help, let me know, and by the way, this is where content comes in, because I have lots of free blog posts, stuff that doesn't cost you a thing. If you just have a question about whatever, it's either my blog or Mark Sisson's blog or your, whatever, so a recipe or whatever, there's lots of stuff that I was willing to share for free.
That's exactly what I was going to say. Give something away for free. That is the best way to gain traffic, whether that's a YouTube video, a blog post, an Instagram graphic. Those are so easy to make. Canva. God, if I had Canva back in the day, I could have ruled the world. Now all you have to do is just go and it puts it all in there for you. It's amazing. And those type of things are so helpful for other people. Yeah. And they're good for business. So 100%. So, just don't be afraid to offer to help. Don't be afraid of your price point, state the price, and always have a downsell. Here's what it takes to work with me one-on-one. If that's just out of your price range, hey, do you have a group of friends that also need help? Why don't you get 3 of your friends together? Now there's 4 of you guys can split the price. Or I have just my evergreen course, right? My program that's auto-delivered anyway. It just doesn't have the coaching sessions with it. So I always had a downsell or a freebie or whatever. So awesome. I think if we didn't answer your question, Doll, let us know, but I think we covered it. Like we did.
Yeah. Allie, hi, I'm curious how you prefer to structure group coaching sessions, manage the group dynamic. Do you find you sit back and take a more facilitator role, allow the magic of the group to interact authentically and naturally, conversation topics, etc.? Or do you direct groups to follow a certain flow, like each group session follows a specific theme, topic, activity? How much do you balance coaching with education in the group setting?
That's a lot. Okay. Yeah. For me, group coaching takes on 2 different variations. So one is I'm active in the community. We have 5,800 people in there, and that's just a community that I would compare to Facebook, except for these people are nutrition based, right? So it runs just like Facebook. Everybody's doing their own thing and interacting. And I'm in there in my inbox answering direct messages, and I will do pop-in live streams similar to this that are Q&As that people can type questions in the comments and we'll just discuss things. And if someone has a real in-depth question, then I'll say, okay, that's something we need to talk about in the DMs, send me a message, and we'll see if we can figure something out, what's going on, where you need to go for this, yada, yada, yada. Then the second thing is I run challenges in the group, and those are more formatted. I lay a set of rules for what I expect from the clients as far as interaction and being adults, okay? And I am very strong in my rules. You cannot be, what's a nice way of saying this? Don't be a turd, okay? My child who is 3 very rarely gets a warning. I'm not giving a warning to a grown adult. I expect you to act like adults, treat each other with respect, and be a grown-up. Just be kind. I don't feel like that's too much to ask for, and I don't tolerate any fluff in there. So that's the number one thing I expect. I expect participation. If you're joining in the challenge, you need to be participating in the challenge. If not, then that's fine. There are other places to go in the community for you to hang out and talk and mingle. But I want people who are in the group to be focused on what that challenge is specifically for. most of the time my challenges involve carnivore or ketovore for 30 days to 90 days. I also do check-ins with them 2 or 3 times a week that are live Q&As, and I have post the replay for those who cannot attend the lives. So that's the main structure, is I want them in there. I want them active. If you're not, I also tell them, if you've been on Instagram before you've been in the challenge group, you're doing it wrong. I want you in the group before you get on Instagram and Facebook and those other things, because this is the point of this challenge, is to challenge you, and you need to check in and be active. Otherwise, temptation comes in, yada, yada, yada. So I lay the framework, but it is not what I would say is the typical group coaching. There's a Zoom call sometimes, but not always. I feel people are much more comfortable when they don't have to show their face. They're better able to ask their question in the chat. They get a little bit of anxiety if they're like, oh God, I have to talk, and that's not really what I'm about. I just want them to be in there and active. I do have a course framework that has videos that are laid out, and I expect them to watch the videos. If someone asks a question that is in one of the videos, I'll just say, go watch the video. I expect, I put in a lot of work to these challenges and the videos and things. And so I expect the work to be reciprocated. This is not, people do not pay extra to be in the challenges. It's included in every level of our community. So you can join the community for $5 or more, and you get access to extra things. Obviously, the higher the level, but every challenge that I run is included at every single level. So they're not paying extra for this. So I really want them to feel like they're still I think y'all talk about this in the Primal Health Coach program. Sometimes when people don't invest money,
right,
they do not take it seriously.
Right.
And so that's what I have a problem with, but I know for the most part, the people that are in there do want to be serious about the challenge. And so I don't worry about the ones that are like, I don't know, blah, 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 blah. And I'm just like, okay, if you're serious, I love that. If you're not, that's fine too. If you're not ready for that, you can watch, the replays and things like that. Yeah. So I would at some point love to do a more exclusive challenge-based program that is just like 50 people, and I can really focus on those individuals and coach them through. That's just not something I have time for right now. But at some point, that's how I would like to do it. That's how I do group coaching. There are many ways to do group coaching. Yeah. I have friends that do monthly group coaching, and they have like on Tuesdays, they have a group, and on Thursdays they have a group, and they charge like $50 a person, and it's small and intimate, and they do Zoom calls. There's just so many ways to do group coaching that I don't feel like there's a right way and a wrong way. It's what are you comfortable with, and what are you, right? What are you comfortable with doing, and what do you expect your participants to do also? Yeah.
I've done them in person. I've done them online. Some of you know this, I used to own a gym, and I ran a group, like an 8-week. One thing I found with group coaching is the longer it is, the harder it is to keep them engaged in a group in particular. I found really like 8 weeks. After 8 weeks, you start to lose them. There are some that's kind of maintained, and they're the ones that are super active the whole time, but like eight weeks seems to be the magic there. But I've done them in person where people would show up for an actual live class, and there I was, and I have a little projector and a little whatever, and it was education. The first like 20 minutes was education. Please do not spend an hour trying to educate people in like a class. 20 minutes, right? And then the rest of the time should be spent answering questions. So when I did it live, the whole first beginning was, let's talk about last week. Let's talk about how things went last week. Like you always kind of like, what went well, first of all. Let's celebrate things that went well as a group. Let's talk about some challenges. Maybe as a group, we can troubleshoot what might be a better approach next time. Then we got into like 20 minutes worth of education and a focus for the next week. And then we talked about anticipating how we were going to tackle that in the next week, and shared ideas and brainstormed. And that's how I did it as like a live at my gym. Otherwise, I think the best way around group coaching is your approach, which is the education is all in the videos. The education is actually in the stuff that's turnkey. And then the rest of your time that's live is much more organic. Answering, you could ask people to pre-submit questions if that helps you.
Yes, that's a great idea too.
You know, and then sort of organic questions, things like that. But
what I find is, for the most part, someone else, if during one of the live streams, someone is asking a question that 17 other people have.
Yes.
And so I try to make people say, you know, watch the replay. Your question probably was answered because you're not the only one with that question, you know? Right. And so that's another reason I like group coaching, is I feel like I'm getting more bang for my buck, or because of the time I'm investing, I'm not just helping one person with that one question. So if I was doing one-on-one and they asked me that question, I'd only be helping that one person. With the group, I answer that question, and I answer everyone else that maybe didn't even know they had that question until that person asked that question. They're like, oh yeah, that's a really good question. Glad that person asked that question. And then, okay, now, awesome. So that it takes on its own kind of energy, and the group really thrives because there are other people in there. And I don't like one-on-one coaching myself. I just don't, it's just not my thing. But I also find that most people don't need one-on-one coaching like they think they need one-on-one coaching. They mostly just need support. And they may not understand that one-on-one coaching is more expensive. For one, they may not want to pay that price. And then when they get into the one-on-one coaching, they were like, I don't really know.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I find, I agree with you. I think many people can get such profound benefits in a group model, but those that tend to hide in a group model, they probably should be in a one-on-one. If they're the kind of person that will tend to just sort of skate and hide and not participate, then they will, you know, that's where accountability matters.
That's exactly what I was fixing to say. That's the accountability people who just cannot hold themselves accountable. They need someone else to say, hey, how's it going today? We need to do our daily check-in. For sure. Those people are the ones that need one-on-one. But then I think most of those people can then go from one-on-one to group.
Yeah.
And be able to be supported from then on out. But yeah, there's definitely a time and a place for one-on-one. And that is mostly with those people who need that accountability for sure.
All right, Allie, if we did not answer your question, let us know, but I think we covered that one. And because I want to, a few more. Okay, we got to ply through these. Okay, here we go. Okay. So Kent, I'm in a green state, Michigan, meaning I think he's talking laws, and wonder how you can coach people to do keto, carnivore, and health coaching. The lessons say we cannot tell people to go on a keto diet because that's out of scope. I have some thoughts there, but.
What does green state mean? Exactly?
Okay, so I'll just tackle this one real quick. So what he's referring to are the licensure laws from state to state. And there are a couple of sort of advocacy organizations that will put states into categories. Green state really means there's no licensure law, Kent, you're fine. A yellow state means there's a licensure law, but there's some flexibility in that licensure law where you can still incorporate nutrition advice into your coaching practice without a problem. And then you have like red states where it's a little more difficult. Now, the licensure law that we're referring to is not about health coaching. There is no legal scope of practice anywhere on the planet around health coaching. Doesn't exist. Where the licensure laws are relevant are when they have exclusionary language that excludes someone that doesn't hold that license. Health coaches are not licensed. We're certified. So in this case, when it comes to nutrition, they're talking about the dietetics licensure law. So if there is a licensure law on the books where you live that has exclusionary language that says only people that hold this license can perform these services for a fee, that's where this comes in. So if you are in a green state, that typically means there's no licensure law, or if there is, the licensure law is just protecting the title. Otherwise, you can practice. I wouldn't worry about it. But even if you live in like a red state where the laws are like, stop, don't go past this line, My thought is, and you can let me know your opinion, if you go to market as a keto or carnivore coach, you're just out there on social media or I'm talking about keto, I'm talking about how to take people keto, but I'm not telling John Doe that he needs to be on keto. John Doe came to me because he heard me talking about keto, and he is saying, I want your help navigating to a ketogenic diet or a carnivore diet. Two totally different things. Okay. That is someone from the marketplace heard what you had to say and came to you expressly to follow your protocol. You didn't like prescribe it to that individual. Okay. So hopefully that answers your question there, Ken. Anything you want to add to that?
No, that's exactly what I was going to say. Just you can't prescribe anything. Yeah, that's fine. But for the most part, no one's going to come if you're advertising yourself. Yeah. Like Laura said, that's not going to happen.
And but by the way, group coaching is a great way to overcome that. You can't be seen as giving individualized nutrition advice to a group. So
there you go.
Negates it. Okay, Tammy, just starting my certification training and thought it would be fun to talk about a cool thing I learned, perhaps helping me build an audience in the process. What social media would be the best platform for this? So are you asking, I think what she's asking is, when she's learning new things as she's going through this certification and she wants to share that, do you have any advice on to which social media platform is best for sharing that kind of stuff?
The social media platform you are the most comfortable on.
Yeah, I would agree.
There's no right place to be. It's where are you comfortable? What are you comfortable doing? Short form video, long form. What are you going to do? And are you comfortable doing it? And do it.
Yeah, love it. Okay, so BJ, do you suggest specific weekly or monthly number of posts, videos to create in order to generate new leads? What rhythm for creating content works best for you?
So I would say consistency, but realistic consistency. What can you realistically do? So can you make one video a week on YouTube? Do that. Can you make 2 reels a week on Instagram? Do that. Can you go live on Facebook a few times a week? Do that. What are you going to consistently do and enjoy doing also? So let's just say on YouTube, because in my opinion, that's the best platform with the best algorithm for reach. It does not hate you if you have 1 subscriber. It does not care. If your video is good, it will push it, period. There are many channels that have 50 subscribers with videos that have 10,000 views. So I personally love YouTube because of that reason. Instagram, the algorithm sucks. TikTok, the algorithm sucks. Facebook is not what it used to be. YouTube does not care where you're at on your journey. It helps you. Period. If you make good content, which you're going to make good content because you're going to be sharing helpful information. So I would say at least 1 video a week is going to be a good start.
Yeah, that's a great place to start.
Yeah. And it doesn't have to be like 20 minutes long. It can be 5 minutes. Fine.
Absolutely. Sometimes, and this is my handicap, like the shorter, the better. I tend to be very verbose and I try to get something done in like a minute and I'm like, oh, I got cut off. Dang it. You know, I've got to be better about that. But all right. So hopefully that answered your question, BJ. So O'Nellie's asking, what are your suggestions for marketing the group coaching on social media? So are you marketing your group coaching program within your community? Are you just announcing it when you're doing your hair in the morning on Instagram? Like, how are you marketing your group coaching program?
I love live streaming. It's easy to me. It comes easily, and it's where I can answer people's questions for free content for them. I don't have to edit the video. It's just boom, and it's done. When I'm done, it's there. They can instantly watch it. And 100% of the time, there is a question that I can turn into hey, if you are interested in, this, learning more about this, I do live Q&As very often in our private community. You could also send me DMs there. We do challenges. all kinds of stuff. So, make sure if you want to do that, you can check out that. So it's just free PR every time I go live without being like, come join our community, blah, 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 like salesy, right? You don't want to do that. You want to be helpful while also saying, hey, also, here's where you can find more information. If you want to work with me in a more intimate environment, this is your option. And if not, cool, I'm still here on Instagram, YouTube, whatever, and you'll always find me here. And that's basically how we advertise. We don't ever do ads. We don't pay for Facebook ads. We don't pay for YouTube ads. We just don't do that. It doesn't feel right to us. It's just not how we do things. Not to say that that's wrong. It's just not what we do.
Yeah. Everybody's got their own sort of secret sauce. One thing I have to give you credit for is the Facebook Lives. I don't know why, but I'm terrified of doing it. Like every video I've ever done, I've shot like 12 times before I feel comfortable with it, because maybe this is, again, I'm afraid of my own verbose nature that I just babble and at squirrel. The next thing you know, I'm talking about something I didn't intend to. So it's probably just something that's outside my comfort zone that I need to kind of learn how to do. Because you're right. I think people that know you, then they're like, oh, Laura's live. Oh, what is she saying? And they'll pop on and watch it. And then it continues to go, which I love that. Okay. So I got to let people go pretty soon. Oh, Nelly, yes, I hate salesy people online. I know, me too.
Yeah. And you don't have to do that. And it's counterproductive to do that. That if you think someone that was a part of an MLM would do it, don't do it.
Don't do it.
If it feels anyway like MLM, don't do it. It's always coming from a place of genuine passion and wanting to help people, because that is easy. That's what you're wanting to do. You're not the cheesy salesman. You're a health coach. And as long as you're just being that, it will never come across in a weird way, because it's impossible to be a genuine, helpful person while also being a cheesy car salesman.
100%. Andrea is asking, how do you find the color of the state for licensure? So the Holistic Council. So if you go to holisticcouncil.org, or just Google the Council for Holistic Health Educators. Daryl Rogers now runs that organization, and on that website there, you can break the state down. It'll tell you what the licensure laws are in your state. There's a couple of other organizations, but to be fair, they've been the most helpful to us as an organization, and I'm on the board there. It's an unpaid position. I don't get paid anything, but I care enough about this school and my own practice and all you health coaches to try to do what I can for that board. Don't stress, Laura. You're a great babbler. And so
she is. She is a great, and I am too. Like if you watch any of my replays, there's at some point, there's a part where I talk about something that has nothing to do with what the topic of my live was, like my lipstick color or the dogs are barking in the background. Like it's just a chaos always.
Oh my gosh. Blech. Okay. So we've gotten a lot of great feedback here. People saying what a great session this was. So thank you very much. Thank you very much. So I know everybody, if they're not already following you, are going to run around and look you up. So where should people find you on all the channels? Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, all of it. Lay it on us.
So YouTube channel is just Neisha, Neisha. If you type in my name, I'm the first thing that pops up. And then underneath every single one of my YouTube videos, I have everything linked via, like, my Facebook is linked, my Instagram is linked, my blog is linked, the PhD community is linked. You can find me at all those places underneath my YouTube descriptions. That's always underneath. It says follow me, and then it has all my social media links. And then hopefully I can come back and hang out in the Coach's Corner again too.
I would absolutely love it. Oh, one more quick question. Betsy Rose, should the Facebook and Instagram accounts be linked or kept separate for content? Do you have
So if you have a public figure Facebook page, yes, link it to your Instagram. It's less work for you when you post on Instagram, then it will automatically post on Facebook. And so you're doing less work while still, like, your content will be good on both. So you might as well go ahead and set that up so you don't have to take that extra step. Get off Instagram, go to Facebook, post it again, do the caption, hit the, it just saves you time. Why not?
Yeah, absolutely. So this has been fantastic. I think everybody got a lot out of this. Yes, we are going to send the replay. We always send the replay. Every webinar we do is recorded. I remember to record it, so it's all good. We would love, love, love to have you back. Maybe we'll have the doc on with you.
Absolutely.
Yes, that would be wonderful. But this has been fantastic. Thank you so much for sharing all that you do. Everyone will get the replay, and have a good night.
My pleasure.
Thank you
Thanks for
so
having me.
much. Have a good night,
Bye.
everybody. Bye.